Jones, owner of Kiera Jones Photography. And today I'm going to be showing you guys how I went from boring to dramatic. So I'm going to start in Photoshop Elements. Photoshop Elements actually has the same tools, the same beginner tools that Photoshop Creative Cloud would have. The first thing that I'm going to do is start out with my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to copy the right side of my image, and then I'm going to bring it over to the left side. So after I've made my selection, I'm going to go up to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste, and then I'm going to then select my Move tool and bring it over to the right side. Now, to make this look correct, I have to flip the image. So I'm going to go to Image, Rotate, Flip, Horizontal. Well, that did not turn out correctly. So, let's see. I do want to apologize in advance if you guys hear my daughter in the background. She is very outspoken and loud. There we go. So you actually needed to go to Image, Rotate, Flip Layer, Horizontal. You don't want to flip the entire image horizontal. You just want to flip the layer. So after that, I am going to paste it to my liking. So I'm just moving it around right now, and I think I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the check mark. That's basically saying that I want to commit to how this is. And then I'm going to grab my eraser, and I'm going to erase the area that I just copied and pasted. I'm going to erase the areas that I don't want. My opacity is on 100%. So I'm going to go back a little bit and like mess with the leaves. Because originally when I did this, I really wasn't too happy with how perfect the leaves looked at the top. I do want to let you guys know that this process is a little tedious. So whenever you're doing it, please make sure that you take your time, because it's very easy to miss over spots. So I don't want any of that. So I'm going to go back. See, this is like the third time that I've gone back. Okay, so I'm going to try to speed this up, but also at the same time still make it to where you guys understand. So if I turn this layer off, you'll be able to see what's going on. All right, so now that I'm pretty And I'm pretty okay with how it looks as far as making the tunnel effect. I am going to go ahead and flatten my image. I'm going to go ahead and crop the image a little bit to here. Okay, then I'm going to go up and try to make this less perfect. Because see, on this side here and on this side, you can see how it just looks too perfect and that doesn't look natural. So I'm going to use my clone stamp and I'm going to hit Option on my keyboard to make a to select the area that I'm wanting to copy to get rid of the tree. So Option, hit my mouse, and then I'm going to try to get rid of this. So I'm just going to keep doing that until it doesn't look as perfect. I'm going to clean this up by hitting Option right here to select this area. And I think I may bring my opacity down just a little bit. Uh-oh. So I'm going to get rid of this little branch right here because that doesn't look natural. So I'm just going to hit copy this selection over this area over here by hitting Option and my mouse. Now I'm on a MacBook, so the shortcuts may be a little bit different for Windows users. So you may just want to find out the shortcuts for your version. And you really just keep playing around with it until it looks natural. You don't want to clone right near where like you don't want to clone in areas of where you're trying to get rid of something because you'll probably end up going over areas that you don't want to. And you also want to try to make sure that you clone, that you basically get your selection from far away so that way it doesn't look like repetition. So I'm going to try to get rid of this dark spot right here because it just doesn't look good. Then I'm going to come over here and like clean this up. Okay. So that looks a lot better. So now what I'm going to do is I need to clean this up over here a little bit because the trees kind of look faded. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is select my subjects because I'm about to start cloning in the background and I don't want my cloning to get on my subjects. So if you don't want whatever you're cloning to get onto them, see how I need to get rid of this white area in the background. And if I just do it without cutting them out of the image, watch. See, it's going to get on them. So in order to clone and not get on your subjects, you need to select your quick selection tool and you need to basically cut them out. So it's important that when you're cutting your subject out that you really be careful zoom in, and make sure that you get a nice selection of them. So right here, it accidentally went too far up, so you want to make sure you clean it all up nicely. To do that, you just keep switching back and forth between the add and subtract. So right now I'm adding, and if you accidentally make too big of a selection, you're gonna hit the subtract button and subtract it. I won't really be doing too much work down here by their legs, so I'm really not going to worry about the selection down here. It's really like right over here by his arm, right over here by her little tush. So I missed a part on her hair right here. See, this is what I'm talking about. You want to make sure that the selection is very fine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them out. To do that on a MacBook, the shortcut is going to be Command J. I'm trying to figure out what that is on Windows, or what you could just go up here to figure that out. But for Mac, it's Command J. Okay, so now I'm going to go in, and I have the luxury of being able to just copy without getting it on them. So I'm going to just get rid of all this tree that was back here. Then I'm going to do Option and select over here and get rid of the white. I'm going to get some of the brown from this side, copy it over here. I'm also going to go back up to the top part of the trees up here, Option, hit my mouse, and clean this up. I'm going to make my selection right here, Option, hit my mouse, clean this up. I'm going to clean up the tree over here. So it's coming along pretty nice. So now I just need to basically keep cloning to now get rid of the cement. So Option mouse. Okay, so I'm going to try to select from this side to bring it over here so it could look more natural. And I'm also going to drop my opacity to about 60% because you want to try to fade it nice. You don't want it to look too harsh. So I'm selecting from over here. So Option mouse. See, it's fading pretty nice. And then I'm going to basically do what I just did to this side. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit Option, click my mouse, and clean this up. It's really nice if you do it from the opposite side instead of doing it from the same side, because if you do it from the same side, it's most likely going to end up looking very fake. See? So I left some in the back, so I'm going to hit Option and come right here, get rid of that. And then I'm also going to get rid of this right here. So I'm going to come on this side and clean this up. Okay, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, Command Z, by going back, and I'm going to try to do it from the same side and see how that looks. Okay, it doesn't look good. Okay, so I'm just going to do it really close to where I'm cloning and see how it looks. So basically, I just selected right over here to get this out. Select right here. The key is to blend it as much as you can to make it look realistic. So again, this process is really tedious but very rewarding. So see, you can kind of tell, but not as bad as it was before when I just copied it from the other side. So this part on her hair right here, when I edited this the first time, I don't remember her having that light coming from the cars on her hair. So I'm just going to put my opacity on like 62%. Actually, no. I'm going to put my opacity on 80% and just clone her hair to right here. Oh, I have to flatten my image first. So basically, since I'm done with the cloning part of it, I'm just going to go ahead and hit Layer, Flatten Image. And then I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to try to clone her hair. Okay. So now I need to clean up this harsh line a little bit. That looks way too harsh for me. So I'm just going to put my opacity on like 54% and see how that looks. And click Option to select what I want to select. And just kind of blend it out a little bit. I'm going to try it over here. Option, click my mouse. Drop my opacity a little bit more to about 41%. Just blend it out so it doesn't look so harsh. See, that looks a lot better. Alright, so now we can start using actions. An action, if you're not sure what it is basically a group of layers put into one action. The actions that I'm going to be using that you can actually purchase to use to edit your image. For this particular image, see, I have a ton of actions here, but for this particular image, I'm going to be using the Fall Collection by Kansas Pitts Photography. And there's a lot of different actions here that you can use to transform your image into fall colors. So just to go over a few, you can mute out the greens in your image to basically have a stronger fall look. And then there's also different paint brushes in here that give you fall colors to paint over the leaves in your image. So I'm going to basically start out by playing an action that changes the entire background colors of my image. Now, to do this so it doesn't get on my subject, I need to make another quick selection layer of my subject. So you need to cut them out again. Oh, see, there's Aya. She wants me to come look at her painting. So please forgive me for her yelling. I'll probably give her another.
Mommy, can
Oh,
we get my picture?
I'm recording. You have to wait until I finish, okay?
Okay, but look at my picture.
Oh, I see your paintbrush, but I can't see your picture. So I'm recording this and then I'll be in there in a second, okay?
Okay, but what else did I keep you?
I'll be in there in a second to help you, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Now that paint are you doing?
So I'm just selecting all around my subjects, making sure that I'm paying attention to all of the edges of my subject so that way whenever I play the action, it doesn't miss anything. So right now I have it on the add, so I want to subtract because I selected too much right here. So once you get the hang of it, you're going to be able to go pretty quick. I'm going slow for you guys so that way I can explain it nice, especially if you are a beginner in Photoshop. So I think this image took me about 30 minutes whenever I did it the first time. Okay, so now that I have my subject selected, I'm going to hit Command J, and that's going to cut them out of the background. I'm going to select my background. Then I'm going to go to the Fall Collection by Kansas Pitts Photography, and I'm going to play Pumpkin Spice. So you can see how it changed the background. So this is what it did. I'm going to go to my picture, my original picture, so I can kind of do a comparison. Okay, so then you can just play around with it to your liking. So let me play Fall Color PSE to see. See, that made it a little bit more brown. So I'm just going to tone that down just a little bit. And this is how it looks. So this is Pumpkin Spice and Fall Color together. Now remember, it's only getting it on the background because we made our quick selection to cut our subject out. I think I'm going to tone Fall Color down even more. But then, I mean, you can play Warm Matte. See what that does to your image. You can just play around with it to your liking. There's no set recipe when you use actions. I use actions to turn something into my own unique look. So let me go back to the picture. to see how close I am. Pretty dang close. So let me show you something else that you can do. So let's just say, what if the colors didn't change orange enough? So you could paint on pumpkin spice, and it's just basically an orange paintbrush. And I'm going to put the opacity, I'm going to lower the opacity a little bit, because if I had it on 100%, make sure your background is selected. If I had it on 100%, look how dark that would be. I don't even think that's the color it was supposed to be. I'm sorry, that was completely wrong. So yeah, make sure you select on the layer that you're going to be painting on. So if you paint on pumpkin spice, you want to make sure that paint on pumpkin spice is selected. But see how let's see, go back. All right. So see how dark that is? I don't want it to be that dark. So that's why you want to lower your opacity to like 20%. And I mean, you could paint on, see, it's very subtle. You could paint on there to make it more fall-ish. But I'm just going to take it off of the trees. Actually, I'm going to take it off of everything I just did, because I'm okay with what I did originally. But I'm just saying, like, if your colors still aren't as fall as you would like them to be, because all images are shot different in Photoshop. I mean, are shot different in camera. So I noticed an area that I wish I would have cloned, which is like right here by her hair. So I'm wondering, let's see. Okay, there we go. All right. So now after you've done that, you can go ahead and flatten it after you've played around with all the fall colors. So flatten, make sure that you don't flatten your image until you're 100% happy with it, because typically you can't go back if you flatten it. Some people just like to keep all of their layers. I personally don't, because it just gets overwhelming for me. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten my image by hitting layer, flatten image, to get rid of all those layers right there. I use brushes from Grace Collection by Paint the Moon Grace Collection, the Awaken set, and I use her lighten and darken brush. So it's right here under the special brushes. I'm going to go ahead and click play selection. I'm going to click darken, and I'm going to darken the entire image. And then I'm going to mask it off of my subjects only. So you see what I just did? I just darkened the background basically, because I like my images more dark and rich and moody versus light like this. But to each their own, whatever your preference is. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten that. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to smooth her skin by using Greater Than Gatsby Retouch. And I'm going to scroll down to Skin Makeover Brushes, and I'm going to use Hello Flawless Skin Smoother. So I'm going to smooth out her skin. Now, as you can tell, I'm mixing and matching action. So I used the Fall Collection by Kansas Pits, Now I'm using some actions from Greater Than Gatsby, so you can mix and match to your liking. Whenever I smooth out the skin, I make sure that I don't go over any harsh, well, I'm saying that wrong. I make sure that I don't go over any lines of the skin. And then I'm going to go ahead and flatten it. Oh, Aya's back. Here she comes. Okay, go use the restroom, Aya. You know how to go use the restroom. Go into the other bathroom, Aya. Well, I didn't lock the door, so I don't know what to tell you. I'm about to clean up here, right here, by just using my clone tool. So now I'm going to make my subjects pop off the background by using a matte finish from Greater Than Gatsby, the carving tree, and the action that I'm going to use is from his finishing overlays, and it's called the Dark Blue Forest. And I'm going to take it off. Okay, good job. And I'm going to take it off of my subjects. Okay, and then I'm also going to take it off of the trees at the top. I really want that to stand out. So you can tone that down a little bit if you don't like it as dramatic. You could do it however you want. I'm going to tone mine down just a little bit. Yeah, I like that better. So now I'm going to go up to the Innocence Retouch Collection by Greater Than Gatsby. And I'm going to use Peachy skin tone. This helps out with my skin tones a lot when I want my subjects to look more warm. And I'm just going to go over their skin. Sometimes what I find myself doing when I want an image to look more warm is using the Almond. Aya, can you come back in and close the door, please? And I'm also going to use the Almond skin tone brush. And I'm going to go over the entire image with the Almond skin tone brush. So you don't just have to use certain brushes like just for the skin. For instance, I always use an action in the Greater Than Gatsby Innocence collection. I always use in the hair makeover brushes, always use the soft contrast brush, and I go over facial features. So I'm gonna put the opacity on like 40%. I go over the eyes, the nose, the lips, the hair, Sometimes I want it to be a little bit more drastic. So it really, just all depends. So this is what it did to her. So I just kind of like certain features to pop sometimes. I'm going to tone it down on her nose a little bit to about 42%. There's a light shining on his face. We got to get rid of that. I'm just about to try to get rid of it the easy way. We're just putting my opacity on 24% and cloning a part of his face. Painting over, not cloning. Okay, so that is basically it. We are finished. In the comment section below, if you have any questions, feel free to just ask me and I will get back with you. It's easier probably to join my Facebook group called Kiera Jones School of Photography and ask your questions in there. And I would also like to see your edits with the fall collection by Kansas Pitts Photography. I'm going to be leaving all of this information in the description below. And also, if you would like to see behind the scenes of how I am during photo sessions and also more tips and tricks, follow me on Snapchat so you can see all of the behind the scenes. My Snapchat name is Kiera Jones. That's Kyiera Jones. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.